It's a bad day for loop makers who just spam the hell out of producers who don't even ask for loops. Yes, sending loops may actually be illegal. No, this isn't some shit I just made up. However, if I did make it up and it actually stopped people from sending me stuff without contacting me and asking me first, I'd say it's pretty worth it. I'm obviously a loop maker. If you didn't know that, then you don't really know anything about me, because I've been releasing loop, sample, and drum kits since about, I don't know. I said 2007 once, and someone was like, no, you've been doing it way before that. I also use loops. I get a lot of shit for using loops. I'm not gonna stop. So I love loop makers. I love sample makers. Anyone that's making cool stuff and being respectful of other people's lives, careers, creativity, and peace. Now, what am I talking about when I say sending out loops might be illegal? Am I talking about the producers who are selling uncleared samples? That's definitely illegal, and it's definitely happening. I've spoken on that. Little too obvious, right? Am I talking about the so-called loop makers who just take other people's loops, repackage them, and claim them as their own, and then send those out or sell them in packs? Definitely illegal too. But no, that's not what I'm talking about. I've made videos about that. If you recall, a couple years ago, somebody sent me a pack. This is why I have trust issues with loop makers. Someone sent me a pack, and I immediately recognized one of the loops. It was a pitched down Illmind sample, and all he did was pitch it down by, I think, well, 1/2 step, maybe 1 whole step. I don't remember, but he didn't do anything to it. And then he had the nerve to be mad at me for making a video talking about it. It's very little accountability in the music producer community in 2023 going into 2024, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. Something that should be illegal is sending out loops like these. I know people think I just fake a lot of this stuff that I get sent. Oh my God, stop playing. And anyone saying, oh, a real producer could flip that, just put gross beat on it. Stop watching this video, go somewhere else. Another thing that should be illegal is this loop pack that I just dropped. I know that's corny, I'm a corny person, but honestly, I love these loops. I've been making beats with them. These are samples that I made with Darrell Banks, and we actually sampled each other's previous compositions. So that's why these particular loops have such a cool texture to them, such a luxurious musicality and a vintage sound to them. Let me show you what I mean. Not only does this kit contain loops, compositions, stems, also some drum loops. And of course, the drum loops go perfectly with the samples, but there's also MIDI as well. Master clearance guaranteed, completely royalty free if you're selling these beats online. So if you're leasing beats on BeatStars or whatever website you use, get your money. We're not asking for a cut. So the link is below. The name of that pack is Vintage Supreme. So if you like what you just heard, check it out. Really appreciate that. Now let's get back to why sending out loops to producers may actually be against the law. When I get all these loops from people, some of the people I know, they're the people who I work with regularly because I like what they make. The vast majority of loops I get sent to me every single day are by people I've never interacted with, and I never said, yeah, send me some loops. Because realistically, I don't need 100,000 loops being sent to me every day. Why are people sending me loops? Well, because they think I can get them a placement, or they think I can get them some money. It doesn't feel genuine because I've never spoken with them. It's not a friendship. But how are they getting my email address? A lot of people are like, well, you give it away. I've never in my life opted in to be on any of these producers or loop makers loop lists. Somebody is scraping emails. They're reselling emails. They're sharing emails. Someone is just going to every producer's social media and searching for their emails, and they're just amassing a bunch of people's email addresses. It's sad because it's lazy, and you could be forming real relationships and learning real marketing rather than just doing the same old boring lazy tactics that have annoyed the producer community for years. And then there are a lot of producers out there who are selling these lists and making money off of these lists because they know that there's an entire population of producers who would rather pay $35 to harass total strangers who have no idea who they are and never asked for whatever they're sending them than just behave like a human and interact with other humans in a respectful and meaningful way and possibly build a lasting connection that could result in real opportunities. So even for the folks who co-sign this fuckery, you have to concede that using an email list you purchased from dubious looking websites probably isn't going to be fruitful or valuable, since the producers on that list have already been spammed to death and have either changed their email addresses, abandoned their email account entirely, or they simply ignore and delete all incoming loop submissions by people that they don't know because they're getting flooded because you've been selling their email address to thousands of other lazy ass producers. But I haven't touched on my original premise, which was that this could be illegal, and let's get into that right now. Zoominfo.com, we're talking about spam, right? A lot of producers don't consider what they do spam. Guess what? Your feelings don't fucking matter. If it's spam, it's spam. An unsolicited message is spam if the recipient's personal identity and context are irrelevant, because the message is equally applicable to many other potential recipients. In other words, if you're sending whatever it is, your loops, samples to a whole bunch of different producers and it doesn't matter who they are, that's spam. Is spam legal? In fact, spam is legal in the United States. That is, whether your email is solicited or unsolicited and whether it is highly targeted or not have nothing to do with the legality under U.S. law. So again, it's not illegal to spam people. It's not illegal to send an unsolicited commercial email. However, you do have to comply with certain rules when sending those unsolicited emails. And if you don't, the penalties can be very serious. That's terrifying. So what are the rules that you have to comply with? Number one, opt-out method. When I get an email with all these loops from Loopmakers, I don't know. Matter of fact, let me just show you. This is the kind of email I get. Just has loops. Look, most loops people send me are great. Even if I don't know them, they're great. I just don't use them because I don't know them and I don't trust them. I don't know if they really made them or not. I don't know how they do business. I don't know how responsive or professional they are. I like what I like. I like the people that I work with. These loops are terrible, objectively bad. I'm not trying to insult loop makers. Most loop makers are incredibly talented. Every now and then I get some pretty bad ones, which is kind of exceptional in a way because most people are just good. All it has are the loops, README files saying if you get a placement, I get half the money and this and that. And like, whatever, dude. No opt-out. They've already violated the first rule. The second rule, opt-outs must be honored within 10 days. Well, so they've already violated the second if they don't have an opt-out method to begin with. 3, no misleading subject lines. If someone sends me trash loops and the subject line is, these are the hottest loops ever, you will get on Billboard, let's make a hit record with this, does that violate this rule because the loops aren't good and they lied about the loops being good? I don't know. 4, be yourself. That's a rule. Oh, I get it. The people that are using this method of spamming loops aren't really hiding their identity. Are they including their company's address in the email? No, of course not, because they are individual sole proprietors and they would have to give out their actual home addresses. This means that they have violated another rule. How many people do this every single day? They send out spam. Damn near everybody. So if everybody is violating this law, what are the consequences? Let's see. This is the government's website. They include some additional information. ftc.gov is the website. Each separate email in violation of the law is subject to penalties up to $50,120. Why not just make it an even $50,000? And these are civil, not criminal penalties. So again, the police aren't being called on you. So all the no snitching talk that's inevitably going to end up in the comments section by suburban kids who listen to way too much rap and watch too many gangster movies is irrelevant. In addition to civil penalties, you may be required to pay redress to consumers under Section 9 of the FTC Act. Yeah, and then that gets tricky. Do I think this is going to happen? No. Have I heard of this happening? No. As more and more people consistently violate these rules, anything could happen. And this is just, to me, extra encouragement for those of you who are sending loops out to do it in a more effective manner. I'm not just saying this because I want to gatekeep spamming. I don't think it works. Buying emails like that BeatStars DM I got talking about $35 for a list of producers to spam. If you ever buy an email address with my email on it, I'm going to ignore that email because I'm going to know. Anyone who wants to create a real connection with me can do so because I use social media and I'm a human. I get a lot of bullshit every day, which I ignore. It's hard enough to interact with all the people that want to treat me like an actual human and have authentic conversation. And a lot of these loop makers are shooting for the moon too. They want ATL Jacobs' email. They want Metro Boomin's email. You really think you're going to get that for $35 and you think that those people are going to be responsive to you just because you spent that money on a list of stolen email addresses? I didn't make this video to scare anybody into thinking they were going to get charged $50,000 for every email they sent out. Sorry, $50,120. Hopefully it puts into perspective your email marketing strategy, which, if it's based on stolen emails and mass messaging people who never opted in to receive emails to begin with, then it's probably not going to be effective. And what I would recommend, again, is authentic human connection, real networking, because you can buy 100 emails for $35, and those will be worth far less than one single authentic connection with somebody you've actually developed a relationship with that grows over time and leads to real opportunity. Appreciate you watching. Much success to you. Peace.